This is Luke over at Whittlestick to show you how I bend a guitar rib. So this is for a project I'm building for a guy, and this is a OM style guitar, and I'm going to be bending the ribs today. And I actually build one rib with you guys. I've already bent one just to make sure everything was smooth, ready to go. Test the wood out so I don't have any major failures with it. But this is how this is going to go. So I've got 3 cameras set up right now. The one you're seeing here, one over where we can see the workbench, and one over at the bending machine. Anyway, so we are going to get this going. Let me show you how this works. So right here on my desk, I have set up, this is the mahogany rib. It is a flamed mahogany, rather pretty. And then I have a mark right up here to show me that this is the top of the guitar and the outside of the guitar. So now I'm going to take this, and this is just standard parchment paper. You can also use aluminum foil for this, but that's, you know, I like the parchment paper because it lets a little more moisture out quickly. So we're actually just got a piece I cut to the length. I actually did trim this down. This is 15 inches wide. I only need 12, so I already cut off the 3 inches, whatever, just a pair of scissors. And you actually don't need a lot of water with this. So I'm actually going to take just a standard spray bottle. This is just water, tap water, nothing fancy. You can use distilled if you want. I know some guys really like using distilled because they don't want the reaction. I just missed one side, just kind of make sure everything's damp. Set it down. Same thing here. Just kind of make sure that surface is wet. It doesn't need to be like totally soaking or anything like that. Then we're going to take the parchment paper and fold that over. Try to get the big wrinkles out. And as long as we're covering it, we should be good to go. Now you'll see as that parchment paper soaks up, it now sticks. You know, that's another reason I really like this, because there it is all stuck together and ready to go. So now we're actually going to load the bending machine. So over here at the bending machine, we have this set up with an aluminum plate on the bottom. So this is just the old LMI version. This is an LMI, you know, stock bending mold for their newer machine than this one, but it works fine in here. So we have one piece of just steel underneath, and then I'm going to make sure I see my mark. Go right up here and show it to you. So that's, I just have a little arrow right there. That just signifies that that is the, you know, the top of the guitar, and this is the outside face. So I'm going to set that in right there, making sure I've got plenty of room. The rib is extra long, so as long as I have it extra, you know, then we're good either direction. Now I'm going to take the bending blanket, load it in, and we're just going to make kind of a sandwich here. Just like that. And another piece of steel. Now, one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of center this up, make sure that everything is in line. I'll get my head out of the way so you can actually see it. There we go. Everything there looks great. Now, I'm going to come in and stick the temperature probe right in between the steel, actually between the heat blanket and the rib itself. So that's going to give me a temperature of where this thing is sitting. The other thing I like to do with this, and you don't have to, but I like to do it, I just take a couple of these are just cheap little Harbor Freight vice grips, and I don't want to like crush it, it's just holding. So I hold that sheets together so that as that blanket is warming up, it is kind of giving something for that heat to go into. And I will actually take these off as I start to bend it because they don't need to be on there. Okay, that looks perfect. Okay, so now I'm actually going to hook up the heat blanket. I'm going to put this on 300 degrees. Now, it rarely actually gets up to 300 by the time I start bending it. It sits more around 250, so I'm going to turn up the temperature a little bit. Almost there. There we go. That's close enough. And now we're actually going to turn the heat blanket on, and we're going to start this. So like I said, this will be filmed in one, real time. So you actually see how long this takes. And we are now at 100 degrees. Got to wait for this to get up a little bit hotter. We want to wait for this thing to start. You'll start seeing kind of a steam or a smoke coming out of this. And that's what we're waiting to see. We're waiting to see that this thing's getting hot enough to steam this wood. I'm actually going to take, in prep, I'm going to take and start cranking this down a little bit. I'm going to come on the back side. I'm going to get that pressed down in. I'm not bending yet. We're just barely off a flat. I'm waiting for that temperature to get a little hotter. That metal shifted just a little bit. I'm going to let that relax. There we go. 187. Oops, starting to see just a little bit of steam. Start wafting up out of it. $194. Oh, now we're starting to see the steam. Okay, so I'm going to start cranking this down. I can hear it hiss and sizzle. Got to adjust that metal just a little bit. There we go. That looks good. Okay, now we are set. So now we're at 212, so we are in steaming mode. I'm going to take and actually just flex these down just a little bit by hand. Now I'm actually going to take this over the top. Be careful and not touch that metal because it is ripping hot right now. And you can see that there's no resistance there. That's what I want to feel. So I can actually just take and just work that around. Take that off, get that out of the way. Come right down to the end of the bending mold. There's one side. Now let's come over here. We're going to do the same thing. Going to lift this. Try not to scorch my belly. Smell things getting hot. Spring on there. I'm going to work this down just a little bit with my hand. Take this nice grip off. Now these are insulated leather gloves. That's why I can push on it with my hand. Just like that. Okay. Now we're going to let that sit for just a couple minutes. We are sitting about 270, so I'm actually going to turn that down to about 250. Because that's plenty hot. My last one must have been just a little bit colder rib because it didn't really get up to about 270 before it had it bent. Now we're just going to let this sit. Just a minute. It's going to start cooling down now. You can see, you can probably see a little bit. There's a little bit of steam coming out the edges right here. And I'm just kind of making sure that this rib is pushed down against the mold. Just kind of work any loose, right now where it's really malleable is a good time to just kind of make sure everything is where you want it to be. There's no gaps, anything like that, and everything looks great. So now we're going to take this. It's sitting at 249, just another minute or two here, if even that. Because you don't want to scorch the rib. You're just now that it's into shape, we just want to dry it out. And as we dry that out, it's going to help keep that shape where it's at. Because it looks really good here. So I might go ahead and start turning this down and just let that, turn this temperature down to 190. So now that's going to come down. It'll stay at 250 for another minute or two as it wanders down to 190. And, you know, give it, I'd say maybe 8 to 10 minutes. This will be down to 190, and then I'm going to let that sit for about 20 minutes. And at the 20-minute mark, I'll come back with you and I will take it out and stick it into the mold. So I'll see you in just... All right, now let's go back over to the, it's been about almost a half hour now because I had to let this cool down from 190. Anyway, so let's go unhook this. It's down to about 120. So you can actually handle it. It feels warm, but it's not like hot anymore. And you'll see right here, I have the guitar mold set out. This is the rib I bent previously. And then the other one will go in here, and then I'll lock that all down. So let's get this one unhooked. So from here, we can actually just take this one, and I'm actually just kind of do reverse of what I did before. Now I do need to find my glove that I just set down, and now, oh, there it is. Sorry, found my glove, because when you take these springs off, they tend to clinch down and they'll bite into your skin. So I'm actually just going to I'm going to undo this just about a half turn, just kind of make sure there's some slack on there. Pull this back up out of the way. And now I can actually undo this spring. And you'll see me undoing the spring on the other, do the other side here. Set that down. Bring this back up. Undo that. Now we'll finish undoing this. Now we're actually going to take and just pull that out. Unhook this. Pull out the heat blanket. And now you can kind of see that rib just sitting there, kind of really close to the shape we want, which is great. Actually, tilt this back so we can get that. Bang. All right. So now, here is my bent rib. Now you can see it's still a little splayed out, but that's okay. We have just a little bit, you can see just one little spot of damp right there, and that's it. The rest of this rib is dry. So, now we actually want to take and just put this into the mold. I'm going to tuck this in behind the other one. Get that waist lined up. And tuck that in. Just like so. What am I holding up against? Perfect. Just like that. Set that all up. Make sure that's where I want it. And then there's spreaders on the inside here. I will move the camera here in just a second and we'll talk about a few more things. Make sure everything is pushed down and level. And we're going to start tightening those. Tightening these up. There we go. All right. Now, I have those set. So now what I like to do with these is I will actually just take a couple clamps and actually just clamp these together really quick. Nothing crazy. And you can even, it doesn't even have to really, you're just holding the two ribs together. So you can even use little, like this is a 3D printed clamp. It works just fine. You can just stick it on there and just hold this down. You're just holding the ribs together, and I'm going to continue and let them dry out for probably a day, just because I want to make sure these are totally bone dry, acclimated to my building environment before I start gluing things to this. Because although they feel dry, there still may be just a little bit of moisture in these. And lift this up so you can see that as an OM mold. You can see the ribs stick in there just like that. And that will hold its shape and kind of let everything kind of get used to being in that shape for a day. Now, one thing I will show you here real quick. So on my bending machine, this is the first time I've ever done this. This I actually ended up hooking into my pedestal vise. And this was kind of just an idea I had this morning. Wasn't really like, this is the first time I've done it in here, and I will say I love it. You know, I'm a big fan of the Total Vise system, and this was like I said, this was an old LMI. I simply just cut a hole and used one of their. This is the Robbie O'Brien guitar sound hole clamp, and it worked just fine. Cut a hole so I could put it in there and clamp it. I actually put an extra 2x4 right there and screwed it in so I would make sure I had a good chunk of meat to grab onto on there. And this now allows you to have, you know, this thing rotate. What did I hit over here? Oh, I hit the handle. Anyway, so you can now, you know, freely rotate this and put it in a position that you like and also get all the way around it. So this is the first time I've had it like this, and it was super convenient, and I thought that was worth of a video just because I could walk all the way around it to get to both sides. I couldn't really rotate it much because you have cables, but you know, that's what it is. So anyway, I just wanted to show that to you. This is going to be kind of a short little video. If you want to see more of this build, I can start doing some little videos of, you know, gluing the, I have the back ready to do the bracing in. I could do some videoing on that. If you guys want to see that, make a comment below if you want to see the rest of the build. And then I also have scheduled out, I have some more interviews coming out. Well, not more, we're going to start them. We did a test run, which you guys won't see obviously, but we did do a test run. It worked flawlessly. So these will be coming shortly. I'm going to be interviewing some other small shop luthiers and talking about more kind of the business end and kind of their experience getting started, which I think is fascinating for everybody because it's more applicable even to small jobs and other things. So if you'd like to follow along, hit like, hit subscribe, all those good things. And we will see you on the next one where, like I said, I think I'll do some videos on this, just showing some building. And also we're getting into a big repair, actually going to be taking a Regal guitar and pulling the back and getting that, doing a new bracing on the top through the back. So we'll pull the back off, take out the existing bracing and put new in. So anyways, if you guys want to see that, like, subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one.